What's up everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here on the Jaime Staples channel. Today is not going to be a vlog, it's actually a tutorial video. I wanted to talk about something that we've been talking about a bit, Brando. 6 tips to make you better at poker instantly. Now this is not tips for your average mid-stakes pro or your high-stakes player. This is tips for the newer player to the game, some things that you might not consider if you're just getting into the game. So without further ado, let's launch into our 6 tips. So the first tip I have for you guys sounds very simple. Consider your opponent. Often what I would see when I'd play live cash games against newer players at the casino, they'd be looking down at their hand, looking at the flop, looking at their hand, looking at their chips, looking at the flop. Not a lot of thinking about what could my opponent have here? What's the story they're telling here? And that's really stage 2 of getting better at poker. We usually pick up the game by understanding how good our hand is in the scheme of all poker hands. The next step is, what is my opponent saying here? How have they played the hand up to this point? What sort of hands do I think they could have in this spot? And what do I think they would call if I'm value betting? Or what do you think I could get them to fold with if I'm bluffing? So tip 1, consider your opponent. Tip number 2 is stop limping. Now I will preface this by saying there is certain situations where you can limp, but if you're a new player to the game, a really easy way of approaching this is if you have a hand you want to play and it hasn't been raised before it gets to you, you should only open raise or fold. That's it. What typically happens when people are newer to the game is they'll start by, maybe I want to play this hand, and then limping. And that's causing a problem, right? Because you're taking a weak hand and you're showing weakness yourself, and people can pick up on that's a target. You know, they want to attack that. So with your good hands and your bad hands, tell the story that I have something worth raising here, and that will really simplify the game for you. Tip number 3, this one is pretty simple to people that have been playing a long time, but I think it's worth repeating for people that are newer. Don't play while tilted. Now, if you're in a poker tournament and you're stuck in and you got some chips, of course you're gonna have to deal with your mindset. But if you're playing a cash game and you're deciding whether to play, you find yourself a little tilted, off center, not really happy or focused, you're just throwing away money playing in those situations. Poker is a very long-term game, and you're playing against like-minded people that often are of equal skill set to you. So how you play when things are going poorly is going to make up the difference as to if you're a profitable or a very successful player in the long term. If you can cut out that 10% of the time where you're a little bit tilted, just cut out your play there, you're making tons of money in the long run of poker. Tip number 4 is do more than just play. Now, if poker's your hobby, I totally understand. You just want to play and have a bit of fun. But if you want to take your game to the next level, consider doing more than just getting out there and getting in hands. Because you're going to improve your game a lot by working on your game off the felt. So perhaps watch some Twitch streams, like mine on Twitch, or some other people's. Consider watching YouTube channels, talk with friends, create a community. I would liken it to like golf. You know, if you play golf and all you do is just on the course you play, well, you're not gonna improve very fast, right? Whereas if you put some time in on the range, even like 30 minutes a day, you're gonna make big improvements in the long run. So consider doing more than just playing. Tip number 5 of 6 is consider position. This is another part of the game that people don't really think about or understand if they've never played before, and you have to learn it through playing and gaining experience. So let's say you have a hand like King Queen offsuit. Now King Queen offsuit is a pretty amazing hand, but position is going to be very important in determining how good of a hand it is. So let's take a full ring cash game, right? Let's say we're 9-handed and we have King Queen offsuit under the gun. What that means is there's 8 people left behind us. We're the first to act. That's a fairly marginal hand. It's not a great hand. You might open it depending on if the game is good or not, but it's not particularly great, and most of the time it's probably just a fold. Now let's take another situation where we have King Queen on the button, where there's only 2 people left to act, the small blind and the big blind. Everyone else at the table has folded. Well, all of a sudden that King Queen becomes a very strong hand, a premium hand in that situation, because there's only 2 players left. 33% of the cards you have here, you know, there's not very many people you have to fade having a better hand than you. So King Queen becomes a lot stronger in that position. Position is something you should consider in every single poker hand, on every single street. You need to be thinking about that. And if you do that, it'll take your game to the next level. Tip number 6, the last tip, is treat your poker money like inventory. This is similar to bankroll management, but I think when people get into the game for the first time, they're very emotionally attached to the money because it's money, right? You can take it and you can buy something when you leave the table. What you see with experienced poker players and players that play a lot is they treat their money a little bit differently. They treat it like inventory. It's not thinking about it in terms of what could I buy with this, but this is the tools that I need to play the game. And if I have a decision that's the right decision, I'm not afraid to invest my tools to have a better return in the long run. So detach yourself from the idea that this could buy a Mercedes. That's not what it is. A poker bankroll is your tools to be able to play the game that you're playing. So detach yourself from the money. So that's it for the 6 tips. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know it's not the normal vlog that we have in this channel, but it's one of my goals to take people that like seeing my vlog and the lifestyle we live and the person behind the poker player and sort of explain some of these newer poker concepts. At the end of the day, I made this channel because poker has a really unfair perception in the greater audience of the world, right? People view it as something that it really isn't. So hopefully you enjoy these insights into the different ways that poker players think and strategize and live their life, to be honest. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, let me know down in the comments if you want to see more stuff like this. Drop a subscribe on the channel. But until next time, we'll see you later.